down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
What's going on, Savvy investors? This is your friend, Steve VanCauwenbergh. You tuned in to Savvy Somebody or the Savvy Radio Show. But I am truly excited because I set a goal to interview somebody at least once a week, a human being, and you don't hear my voice, you hear someone else's voice. And I think the greatest voice in the Savvy endeavor is my wife. And if you follow me enough, or if you listen to this one podcast, that honestly, I wouldn't be here today with this podcast because my wife, maybe the Holy Spirit spoke to her and said, hey, Stephen, you really need to do this radio show podcast. And this is to show, years ago, I tried it with a friend of mine and we just could never materialize. It's a lot of work. And my wife just, and I think this is an important thing to say to every man, and especially what we're going to talk about today is the support. She encouraged me, just even gave me some creative ideas. And, when I was struggling with what to do, how to do it, she would just, find the encouraging word. So today's episode is women. The interesting thing, I just got back from the Ohio RIA convention. And if you don't do that, it's every year in November, you need to do that. And I do have a podcast written and I'm going to break that off sometime, or I may have already aired it because I am trying to record this. My wife is busy. And so I asked her, I was like, Shanizzle, my whizzle, would you mind coming into the studio and talking about this one subject? And so that subject is that one thing is that when I was in Ohio, that there's a few girls that are banding together. They feel like there's not enough women in the real estate world. And I was like, I thought about that. And I was like, that's interesting. And then I dug a little deeper, or maybe as a typical male does or does not do, pay attention. And I started listening and I realized that a lot of women feel left out of the real estate world, not individually, but we're speaking right now as a couple. So let me paint this picture for you. You're a couple, you're married, there's a husband and wife, and you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad together, you went to a seminar together, and you're like, we're going to do this together. And you both have jobs, you both are 9-to-5 people, and you're like, we're going to do this. And some people have invested in buying courses or hiring coaches or circumstances, whatever. But you guys have just realized, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to be married. We're going to be rich. I know rich is kind of a weird word, but we're going to be set free with our retirement. And everything's going well. Months go in and, you try to define each other's roles. And I think that's an important thing, Shanae, if you can cover about roles. And, one handles the property management, one handles finding the deals, maybe one handles the maintenance. And I'm like, you got a dynamic duo going on. It's like, wow, we got this perfect machine. And then the machine starts to unravel and there's tension between the two. Maybe one feels, and it's typically the male, I'm doing more work than the other one. So that's another question, that more work than the other one. And then next thing you know, there's dissension. And then it just gets frustrated. And that miracle dream of being rich has been down to, you don't love me, you don't care about me, and we're going broke because you have bought a house that didn't work out financially, or you spent too much money in an area that wasn't pre-approved. So is that clear, Shizzy? Like what I'm trying to say is like, what's a woman's side of it? And, and give you a little bit more, and I'm done with this intro, but give a little bit more feedback. Like, you're not involved in my real estate. And I know that the gifts and talents that you do, but I also shield you from the drama. And that's one of the main reasons. Mm-hmm. But I know that, you could be involved. And so what's, I know that really wasn't a specific question. Do you understand what I'm getting to?
Yeah, I totally do. You threw so many questions out there, but I want to start with the very first thing you said. First of all, that there's a minority of women in the field, and that sometimes they feel excluded, not included. It's a different environment for them. And I just want to say a word of encouragement to the women that are out there hustling in real estate, that you need to continue to do what you're called to do. If you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, or you've studied real estate, or you've done your homework, and you are a female, you need to continue to pursue whatever it is that's on your heart and your mind, because do not be intimidated by the male domination in this field. Here's a couple of reasons why. Number one is you have a different perspective to offer to the table, and you can see things differently than what just a male and how he's wired. That's just innate within us, the way we're born. It's totally different. Stephen can bring deals to the table. He can bring houses and show them to me, or just talk about something, and I may bring a totally different creative, intuitive perspective to him that's completely opposite, something that may spur him on in thinking something totally different. You need to follow that. You need to be encouraged in that. So for any females out there, you can hang with the group.
So basically what you're saying is be objective, but with a positive flair.
I would say be who you are, and if you know that real estate is your way out, you need to stick with that, and you need to not let the fact that males are dominating in this industry to hold you back.
Okay, but sometimes there's a couple that the wife may be down on real estate. Like, why are you doing this? This is dumb.
Okay, I'm not even thinking about a couple's perspective as much as I'm thinking of like just
women.
Females, women in general.
Go
okay.
girl.
So yeah, right. And so because there are little women out there who may not be married, and they realize real estate's their ticket. And they may be dating someone, or they may be on their own. So that's for them. Cool. Okay, now tell me the question again with the couples. So
women, I think wives, let's say wives, may not feel a part of the real estate success, or a part of the team.
Yes.
And I'm going to speak for the men. I think a lot of men don't realize that the woman does a lot in the home, so the man can go do what he needs to be doing.
Okay.
So the one main thing would be roles.
Yes, roles. Okay. So now this is interesting because it depends on how you define your marriage. Because for Stephen and I, he comes to work and he does real estate, and then he leaves his job at home, back at the job. For me, I did the same thing when I used to work. So I've had two different lives between the 10 years that we've been married. Half the time I've worked, half the time I have not worked. So I have two different perspectives. So the first perspective is the fact that if you are a wife and you are grinding it out every day, you're going to a 9 to 5, you have all these responsibilities of a wife, of a mother, if you have children, and you're filling all these roles. Okay, so real estate, sometimes if it is your side hustle and you're gaining momentum for it to become your out or your retirement or whatnot, you have a lot on your plate, especially if you're raising a family. So I can see how real estate can become a consuming conversation that doesn't end, or that is tiresome to talk about because it falls in the mundane day-to-day or week-to-week things of what has to be done, what is going to be done, what do we need to do next. These are the things that I'm thinking of just as I know what I know about real estate. But then you have all these other things going on with your children or with your day-to-day lives or with the grind of taking out the trash, just silly stuff that gets in the way. So I'm going to harp on that for just 2 seconds. Okay. How do you get through all of the jumbled up stuff going through your head to really define out be selective. This is my application for this question. Be selective about the things you talk about with your mate, your partner. Stephen and I are very selective because we understand innately that we have minimal time to talk about important things. So this is something we've never discussed. I'm telling you this on a podcast, but this is just understood between us, and probably why our marriage is more successful, because we just understand this about each other's time. We understand our number one commodity that we cannot lose is time. And this is an understanding that comes in the forefront of our mind all of the time. Like, we are constantly comparing and weighing what we can and cannot do, our decisions based on this commodity time that we can never gain back. And so that also makes us really choosy about what we choose to discuss with each other. For example, if Stephen has silly, stupid stuff that's gone on with real estate, he chooses not to talk to me about those things because he knows it's just going to invoke probably an emotional response, probably fear, probably certain things about that. Now, is he trying to hide those things from me? No, because he has it handled on the real estate end. He's dealing with it. It's really not necessary. He doesn't see that it's going to be an important situation. I value his interpretation of those events, of those circumstances, because I know his knowledge of real estate is so much greater than me. Now, if he needs my support, okay, this is a different scenario. If he's really hurting in a situation, or someone's really done him wrong, or something has been devastating, it's more likely he's going to bring that up. Now, here's the thing. Stephen is a seasoned investor at this point in his life. In the beginning, he was not. He was learning and growing. So when he was learning and growing, the likeliness of him bringing up things that were small, like sewers going bad, or tenants being evacuated, or, having to do all these kind of, different stuff, was the likeliness of that being brought up was higher when he was a younger investor. Now that he's more seasoned, he doesn't even bring that stuff up because he's done it so many times now. So the things that really hurt him are more relational, or more, they're deeper than that. And I know that when he brings those up, they need my full attention. They need my awareness, or he's looking for a different perspective. And so I'm trying not to be emotionally involved in those things, because I'm trying to see what he's seeing in the big picture. Okay. So I just want to encourage you as women out there, if you have a man that is in real estate and you are the person that's going along this journey with them, that number one, I've said this before in previous podcasts, you need to know the why of why you are heading in this direction. For example, I knew early on the why behind real estate was so important to me, because every time I saw my husband or our family have to sacrifice for real estate financially or time-wise or anything, I knew the greater good. I knew that he was doing this because one day we could hopefully be retired, or one day we would, the possibility of me not having to work was a potential. There was all these things that were on the table. Right.
Well, yeah. Awesome. You could talk all day. I think that, the Holy Spirit just came through you and you just flowed, and someone got impacted there. The things that you said that were really credible is like, I do come home. I could tell you about all the drama, but I only want to increase the family.
Exactly.
Because if I say that, we just got ripped off, or we just lost $5,000 on a sewer line,
right?
What does that really do? That only creates fear in your mind,
and the person, mm-hmm.
Right? Because we're trying to live on a budget. We're trying to, whatever money that doesn't fulfill that budget, we invest in real estate, which is assets, so we can buy and do more assets to live a different lifestyle. Okay,
mm-hmm.
Let's change. Here's something that popped in my head when you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll end with this one, and then we'll have you back on, because, millennials only have 20 minutes of focus.
I just listened to an hour podcast, and I'm like ready to go. But, 20 minutes.
You're different. You're not a millennial, where you're on the edge.
Right on.
You're dipping your little toesies, and people don't know. Fun fact about Shanae, her toes are squared. They're not normal shaped toes. So
they are cute.
And, listen to this. And I found out, I'm 45 years old. I'm being serious as a heart attack, and I have not had a chance to tell you this. There are people out there that have foot fetishes. That people, I know you're looking at me like, I'm being serious. There's foot models. It's serious.
I'm just looking at you like.
There is foot websites that have models on there and people comment on, okay, so someone turned me on to that. And
Back that up. Okay.
I had to leave that.
Yeah, let's edit that out.
We're not editing Jack out. So, but here's something that affected me in our marriage a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I think every man, maybe even a woman's goal is to work together. I mean, you're madly in love with this person. Mm-hmm. You love them. You want to spend as much time with them. And I'm thankful that I failed in this area quite often, and I like that you have your life and I have my life and I have my job and you have your job. Mm-hmm. But there was a time in our marriage when you really got excited about real estate. And I remember vividly, and I'm not trying to attack you, and I'm definitely not trying to hurt you, but I would like to know your perspective on it, and I can kind of give you perspective on how maybe the other partner would realize. Work with me, girl.
I'm laughing because I'm like, thanks for bringing this out on the podcast.
Yeah, I just can't. I didn't even write it down.
That's okay. Let's just be fresh. Let's just get it on out.
Authenticity, it works. It works. We're changing lives out here. You know, somebody's tuning into this deal. So we got 15 minutes on the right mic here. Let's slow down here. Okay,
bring it on in. I'm ready.
We were living in Forest Park, and from some weird reason, you were getting excited about real estate. The great thing is that you did read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and we should have an episode on that and how that affected our marriage. But I was like, look, if you got your real estate license and you prospected deals, I can close them and we can make them. And what happened? Right. Don't interrupt me
because I'm agreeing with you.
Don't write me because I'm gonna write because it's gonna change the dynamic right here. Oh, don't get mad and shake your head, girl. Don't get mad.
Girls, you know what I'm talking about right here.
So
okay.
I know I'm a bully sometimes. I apologize, but I remember there was this hot, amazing house in Forest Park, and I was like, Shanae, you gotta go check this house out right now. It's hot. It's not gonna last on the market. And you were like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm all into real estate. You were even looking at neighborhoods. Even the other day, you reminded me about a neighborhood that you looked at. I didn't even know. I forgot that you used to look at neighborhoods. I forgot that you used to know how to analyze these houses. But I remember vividly that day I was crushed. A couple of days later, you never went over there and looked at the house. I was devastated. I was like, she said she was all into real estate. She said she's going to go do it. And I'm like, man, this is my dream come true. I can work with this. You know, I'm glad we never materialized. So, because I wonder what it would be like. But what was going on at that time in your life? And you understand, like, where the man's perspective is, he's so excited that he has someone like-minded in this deal. And you didn't go look at that property. And, you know, I just never really confessed that until today. I mean, I never changed the love that I have for you, and I didn't write it down. Seriously, it popped in my. Don't get. She's getting frustrated with me. I mean, you handle yourself well, Shiz, because you're smiling. I can see a little tear going in your eye.
Not even close.
But do you remember this time?
No, I have no idea what house you're talking about. I have no idea which house in Forest Park. The only other one I could think of are the two that you bought. One that had a foundation problem.
This
and
house,
the other one.
No, but this was just came on the market. But the point is like you weren't as motivated as I thought you were, and I think that's the question. I think that a man or a female is married and they want to work with that person.
Okay.
They want to be married. Okay. They want to be, and then the other one bails out and says they do it. Or hey, I'll pay for you to get your real estate license, and then the thrust.
I'm just gonna shut you down.
Wanes.
I can't even hear about this anymore. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Let me just come around full circle on the question he's trying to tap at. It is this. It is you are excited about real estate. Let's just simplify it. That's what you do when you're a mom. You try to simplify it. I think you're going off board. You jumped off the deep end. Okay. You're in real estate.
You just made fun of me? Keep going.
You're in real estate. You're excited about it. You feel that your partner is somewhat interested, understands what's going on in your world, and is now excited about it. And then you have said, can you give me your opinion? I'm just generalizing this so it would fit most of you out there about maybe understanding what we're saying. And that is, they're excited about it, and then they never go and look at the property, or they never pursue it, or they seem that they're not as excited as what they once were. And now the feelings of what you thought were a high, and what you thought, oh my gosh, they're on the same page. Oh my gosh, they're excited. Oh my gosh, they're going to help me. This is great. We're going to do all these things, and your mind's explosive. And then the partner is now, meh, I don't know. I'm okay. Okay. So how do you address that? And here's what I'm going to try to tell you from the half that's saying, I don't know. I don't know. Here's what happens. What freezes, I feel like, myself, and freezes possibly other people out there from continuing on, is the overwhelmingness of what it is. Okay. What does that mean? It means that, I don't know how to walk through a property. How do I know how to evaluate a property? What am I going to get myself into when I walk through this property? How am I going to help this person that knows so much more than I do? What am I going to say? Okay, how can I say yes or no on this deal? I don't even know if I can contribute to this situation. And it seems in the moment when you're having to make a decision, and what I'm saying about this decision is because in the meantime, I'm going to talk to the wives and the moms for 2 seconds. You have a lot on your plate. So you're already trying to plan out meals, kids, events, play dates, dinner plans, blah, blah, blah. You're trying to plan all this out. You're like, how am I going to, that's last on your list of things that you're like, how am I going to get excited to go over and look at this property when I really cannot even contribute to this conversation and add wisdom or value or encouragement. Okay. So this is what I would say. Yes, I must have lost motivation.
Well, here,
I don't really remember this situation.
Right, listen, let me help you out here. So, but basically, it boils down to an expectation. I expect you to be the realtor of the family operation, or the property manager, or the plumber. Okay, so how do you, when you're working with a husband and wife team, how do you handle the expectations that the other person does not know? Or they do know and they don't address it and they harbor it.
Okay. So you're saying when the husband or someone, I'm saying husband because most of the time it's males, but when someone has an expectation for you to go out and do whatever it is and you're not fulfilling that.
Yeah, like the spouse said that they would do it, but then they didn't do it.
Then they didn't do it.
And you don't want to, maybe it's a weak man and there's a conflict, like she doesn't care because she didn't do it. Maybe there's many reasons, but I have an expectation for you to do it and you don't do it, but you're my wife and I can't say, I can't fire you. So how does that, the man's raging with expectations. Okay, here's, the girl's oblivious.
Okay, here's how you help dissolve this situation. Okay. This is how you help dissolve this. And I think any female out here would understand what I'm saying. If you as a man or whoever come up to the partner and they either have a 0 level of real estate or they have a high level of understanding, this goes for any in between. You need to tell the person these words exactly verbatim. This would really mean a lot to me if you could come and walk this property with me. If you say those words right there, this would mean a lot to me. Now, what does it mean to you? It could mean you just need their support. It could mean you need their visual perspective. Maybe you have a creative wife that's like, she can see paint. She's really good with colors. Maybe she can see something you don't see. Or maybe you just need her by your side because she's your partner and you are feeling a little vulnerable because you're uncertain, or maybe you're new to real estate and you just really want somebody there that's your support system. I would not hold back by saying, like, I really need your support in this. Like, if you say those words to me right now, if Steven says those words, I will jump mountains. Like, I will be there. Like, I've mentioned this before on the show. There was one point when Steven was trying to buy an apartment complex, and it was the first one that he ever bought, and it was in the ghetto. And I went to school in this area, so I knew what this area was around the university that I attended. And he said, I really need your input. He said those words, I really need, like, you're the last person that I need to sign off on this. When he said that to me, I knew the value and the weight of what my words were going to say to him. in this decision making process that could be fast, it could be slow, it could be like, I'm talking to all kinds of men out there who you may be a fast decision maker, you may be slow, you may take a lot of time. Your wife knows you. Like when you say those words though, if there's a female out there that's like, I'm okay, you know, they want to be a part of the team. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do whatever it takes. And I drive through this ghetto freaking neighborhood at freaking dark, and it was not safe, but I drove over there because I knew the weight of my decision and I wanted to contribute. And I also equally, he valued what I was going to say. And so that's important. I think if you say those words, young men out there, hey, this is really important to me. Can we do this together? And don't say it, hey, this is important to me. I need you. You say this right here. You say, this is important to me because what you have to say means a lot to me. When you send that message to them, they feel valued. They feel like their input. What if they come back and they have a low self-esteem and they say, oh, I don't really know a lot. I don't know what to say. I'm really confused. You can just say this. I just need your support and your ideas. Don't you think?
I think that's,
I don't know.
I think well said, very powerful. And so I think what I got out of that is how you ask makes a difference, and not have an expectation like, you're my wife, you should go do this. And that's the terrible male expectation, because I provide, I do all this, I do that, but you should at least do that. But I think if you come across the one that's needing the assistance and the way they display that question,
right,
it would mean a lot to me if you would mind checking this out.
Yeah, you can't ask nonchalantly, because if you say, I just need you to go look at this property, like I need to go get an oil change. We were just talking about that. When you do it nonchalantly, the female automatically says, okay, that's okay.
That's
I'll
not
do
a priority.
that. Because I got to do this, and this. Then when I come around to it, I will do that. In the human mind, this is a side note, in the human mind, the mind will not do what it does not know it's going to do, or what the unknown is. So if there's something that's unknown, if your wife knows nothing about it, or your partner, you have to be present to walk them through that, because the likeliness of you saying, hey, can you go take care of that for me? Their mind is already like, I don't really know how to do that. I'm not doing that. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if they do and you're present, and they know also that you are valuable, like you are valuable in what you're saying, now they feel like they're part of the team.
Awesome. Well, we're out of time. I thought that was very well said. And why are you shaking your head at me?
Because you have to like bring up some property that I don't even remember.
Hey, man, okay. I remember vividly. You were on fire. You were like, I was like, man, we're going to have this. She's going to be a realtor. Bam, we're going to be rich. If Shanizzle was on the front end of the real estate. And, you know, it was young and dumb. You know, I don't even think we had children at that time.
I don't think so either.
And it was just like, I think you were looking to be, you know, extra income. You definitely had a day job at that time. And that's another thing I didn't consider. You know, you have a life, and, you know, it was an opportunity. And I think that I wanted to teach you how to buy a property at that time. And I really wanted your feedback.
Right.
But the great thing is I'm glad that you never went, honestly, because I wouldn't want you as a partner. I want you as a life partner, not a real estate partner. And you have allowed me and your support to do who I am and live my dream every day. I think a lot of people get confused about what is their roles, or, you know, I love our story. You know, of course, how we met is very interesting. But that, you know, you were already successful when I met you. I was just now getting into real estate, and you already had your goals and dreams in place. You were going to do this medical thing, and it was a great opportunity. And at that time, I felt like I was supporting your dream. We're getting you through school. We need to get out of debt. And as soon as that was taken care of, you know, when we're still pursuing your dream, because I believe that your dream had an economical and you were fulfilled. I think that if you're happy, I would be happy. And the great thing is that you fulfilled that dream relatively quickly, and you found wonderful success. I remember so many people try to recruit you to work at their hospital and all this other stuff. And then you allowed me to live my dream, and I get to live my dream right now.
Right. And I would just say, as an ending note on this, that you don't want to suppress each other's dreams. Like, you want to get on the journey of each other's dreams. And you want, if there's anything you can do in your relationship,
like a marathon dream,
anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, yours, it was real estate. For me, it has changed, and it will change, and it will always change and evolve. And you have to get on the bandwagon of the other person's goals and dreams. If they're growing, I love what Anthony Robbins says, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I'm like, growth and growing together and support back and forth is so fun and so exciting.
Yeah, you just reflected that we need to bring you back on, if that's okay, or I need to bring you back on.
Yeah.
And we should do our we should do our goals thing.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's so much fun.
So anyway, thanks for tuning in, Shizzy with my Wizzy. I'm so glad that you came by. I know you got to go pick up Katie Ball and do whatever the freak you do from 8:25.
Being a mom, holla.
I always wonder what
not
you do.
easy. Hey, let me tell you,
8:25 to 2:25.
Let me tell you something.
Like,
don't even worry about it.
What do you do for? Don't worry about it.
Takes me a long time.
What are you doing for 6 hours?
Keeping it together.
Keeping it together.
Holding it down.
All right, I'm gonna shut this off. I know you're about to say something. I don't want to cut you off.
About to.
I'm gonna cut it off. You tuned into the Savvy Radio Show. Let us know. We get back together if there's a comment, or if you want to have more questions for Big Shiz. I got 1,000 of them. I'll call her out every time I get her on here.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.